yo. I, I hope everything goes well. What's up? Back at you. I got like a few stories to discuss here. Firstly, I hope you don't mind how I look, you know. This is my natural African self. You all know Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, how he be looking, right? Yeah, if you're a Pan-Africanist, you should be appreciating how I look right now. You should be having no judgment whatsoever. So, on this day that these videos release, of course, I'm shooting at night and they'll be releasing during the day. Yo, Peggy, thank you for joining, man. You know what I was thinking, Peg? I was thinking to do a WhatsApp group, ne? Where you guys who are really supporting me like this, who show up for the streams, I should have a WhatsApp group where some of y'all can actually send me stories to cover, you know? And then at the time of the live stream, hopefully at a properly arranged time, not too late, we can link up and then constantly work together in the chat to dissect these stories or to hang out, you know, give commentary, laugh a little bit. So I got like 4 stories to talk about. So I was saying, as these videos release, this will probably be a day where, I got backlog of videos that I've been shooting and testing, you know, not seriously shooting. It was a long stream from 2 days ago where I did actually go through a number of stories, but I wasn't sure if the files will show up proper enough to be edited and outputted. But I tried it for the first time and I've got about 2 videos now. One is where I go onto Twitter to look at Colbert's Twitter feed and get some stories there. The other one is that of King Said So, looking at Floyd Shivambu and his partnership with that Pastor Zondo. So those are the first 2 successful videos demonstrating this new format and how it pretty much works and what the videos will look like, right? So now I've got the rest of the videos now, which I've found a workflow. I've seen that everything will work a particular way. You know, I'm designing a blueprint. I am standardizing the editing, the shooting and editing pipeline in such a way that once I get some employees here, they will have a way in which we operate and they will jump straight onto that. So it's been that serious. So that's why I've been on camera a couple of days, but there hasn't been any videos dropping. So 2 just dropped. I think I've got another 4 or 5 videos that are to be released tomorrow, including these 3 or 4, which I'm going to shoot today. So what I'm trying to do is get rid of the backlog and also now hop on to the current stories. And one that is very seriously moving is the shaky, tectonic plates, which is the ANC and the DA. And their marriage looks like it's going to split. We had a look at Ronaldo Khose's live stream as I was live streaming his live stream, where we heard the DA announce that they would be staying away, boycotting their national dialogue, and the expectation was that they were going to leave the GNU. So the question right now in South Africa is, what is going to happen to this GNU? And so we're going to get this from the perspective of that boy there, Sambit, and his father, Colonel Chris Wyatt, who's right above him there. And then we're going to hear Helen Zille on Biz News TV. And then we're going to now go check out the Tyler Perry and Umar Johnson situation. End it off with a bit of entertainment so we can laugh a bit. This situation cracks me up, Joe. To think that Tyler Perry has been a gay man behind the scenes and it can be so hidden. Like, why? I mean, bro, in the time and place where homosexuals are being encouraged to come out of the closet and be proud, there's a gay pride parade that is a month long. This brother here, why did he have to pretend to be a straight heterosexual male even for 1 minute? Does he have kids? Is he actually married? So, yo, Tyler Perry, it's hectic out here to hear that he slid into the blankets of a white guy and he was naked, bruh. Huh? Out with his black ass and his chest hairs there trying to touch a shaft. Oh my goodness. Wow. The world we are in. So, let's start with Sambit here. And we're, of course, going to be making this one a proper video for tomorrow as we drop it. So, hey, what's up? Back at you with another video. Today, we are looking at the situation around the GNU splitting with the ANC. The GNU splitting. Hey, let me start again. Hey. Yo. The Boondocks has an episode showing his being hidden. Yo, which episode was that, bro? Which episode was this one of the Boondocks? Hey, yeah, no, this brother has shocked us. So welcome, Biggie. Welcome, Tabs, live in RSA. Welcome, Pastor Ricky. Man, y'all can't see yourself. Why have I been on this bargaining scene for such a long time? And let me plug in the laptop because some pretty hard software is running here and the hardware is breathing very hard. So, let's get into this one. Thank you guys for showing up. I hope y'all can stick with me. I think this won't take more than 2 hours. And then we'll definitely be out of here. You know, man, no, 10:15. Yeah, midnight. We'll be out of here then tomorrow. I'll start doing these. So, hey, what's up? Back at you with another video. Today, we're looking at the situation with the ANC and the DA. The GNU, the marriage, looks like it might come to an end. We've had threats of divorce, and then we've had a sudden U-turn when everybody's supposed to announce a breakup. And so we are experiencing now some post-match analyses from a number of contributors, commentators, and firstly we start with Sambit here. Then we're going to go over to his father, Colonel Chris Wyatt. Then we're going to look at Helen Zille. And then we're going to look at Umar Johnson and Tyler Perry. That whole thing, that whole closet situation. Let's get into it and hear Sambit, who apparently is a Zimbabwean. There are people who say, look, we know each other as South Africans. Listen to this kid. Look at his pronunciations. Listen to them. His R's, R. He's got this thick R that people say that is Zimbabwean. And we've never heard him speak a local language. Is he on social media? Does he have an Instagram? Does he have friends? Has he ever attended local events, etc., etc.? And Colonel Chris Wyatt is known to have done some work in Zimbabwe. So them two being so closely aligned might actually be telling that Colonel Chris Wyatt recruited the boy from that side, realized the divisions between the South African and the Zimbabwean, exploited the hatred and the xenophobia and said, y'all Zimbabweans, South Africans keep on talking rubbish about y'all. How about y'all throw some rubbish over that side? The US government, Israel, can help you talk them down and talk down the government over there. You will shoot your videos and nobody will ever know that you're not even a South African. So Let's listen to Sambit here. Tell me if you think that he's South African. What do you detect over here?
Let me tell you something that every South African with 2 brain cells and a bit of gut instinct already knows. This so-called government of national unity, this unity government y'all like talking about so much, is just a highly decorated coffin. Fancy on the outside, rotten to the core inside. And now Julius Malema, commander-in-chief of clapbacks and contradictions, comes out and says the DA must leave the GNU if they're unhappy.
Well, there's been more reaction now to the DA's announcement that it was withdrawing from the national dialogue. EFF leader Julius Malema says the Democratic Alliance must respect the president and follow government protocol.
They have no reason to complain. They went into a marriage and knowing very well that they are going with an ANC corrupt government into a marriage. These are unnecessary threats. They just want to run like they are government on their own. There is no president. There is a president here. Whether they like him or not, they voted for him. And then they have to respect him and respect the government protocols. They don't want that. They must step out and let the ANC do its own mess. And then we all oppose it collectively.
Is that King Dalinkiebo there next to Julius?
Excuse me, Julius? Didn't the point of the GNU start with trying to bring opposing voices together? To hold each other accountable and keep the ruling party honest for once? To represent all South Africans, not just those who suck up to power. Let's break this down, because this isn't just politics anymore. It's a reality show with a failing script, and they're rewriting the rules as they go along. You see, when the DA points out ANC corruption, dodgy cater deployments, billions that go missing, and contracts that make absolute...
Ayo, why is this thumbnail taking a crap on the EFF? Why is the EFF catching an elbow? This is a boo-boo. This is an embarrassment. This is a low point for the Democratic Alliance. They are on their knees sucking a black one, and they've got no choice but to keep on sucking it. And the headlines should be coming out embarrassing them for doing that. The shame should be taken and felt by those who support the party. I mean, in the live stream when we were watching Ronaldo host, he even said that the DA is looking so weak, so feeble. He's encouraging white people to go and join the Freedom Front Plus. He's even said that he can recruit a number of people, YouTubers, influential voices, to galvanize the white people to go over to the other side. And so it's a serious moment, this one, that we are observing over here. And now the EFF is being mentioned all over the show, being put into thumbnails. My man, just go and lambaste the DA there, man. Yo, we missed you, brother. Fanele sibonge. Fanele sibonge mthethwa. Yo, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me in the live stream, yo. We're listening to Sambit over here. Let's hear if he has actual criticism for the DA, because he's an Israeli, white, apparently non-South African, pro-capitalism, pro-Trump, little black Zimbabwean. Apparently. And so what an interesting mix over there, you know, praising whiteness, begging for farmers to come back, encouraging South Africans to behave that way. That's where people kind of started catching, or no, man, there's something about Sambit. This sucking up to white people, this being on your knees and saying that they are a necessary thing, is known on the southern part of the continent. The black South Africans are pretty much known to be radicals who are opposed to whiteness. But their closest neighbor, who at this point have suffered the whole Mugabe chasing white people out in a very sudden and abrupt fashion, sanctions from the USA, the country collapsing, that has made Zimbabweans fear white people very much and feel that they need them. And so that is also being sold to us over here. And that's where people kind of pick it up. Or no. Sambit has that something that South Africans are just lacking. And so now it's interesting that in this situation where Mahua are ngenging the ANC, they can't get off riding the ANC's meat. The boy here is not able to recognize that as it is. He's here to distort things slightly and say what? Let's hear.
No sense. It's called being disruptive for some reason. But when the ANC loots, lies and throws press conferences blaming apartheid for their own incompetence, 30 years later, it's called governing with wisdom. Bruv! Now Malema is jumping in with his usual red spice, telling the DA if you're unhappy, you must leave. Oh, how convenient. It's like inviting someone to a braai, letting them buy the meat, bring the drinks, do the brine, and then when they ask why the host is stealing the wood, you tell them, well, if you don't like it, just go home. You don't want a government of unity. You just want a government of puppets. And Julius is auditioning to be chief puppet master. Now hold on, let me be honest. The DA isn't perfect. No political party in South Africa is. Sometimes they lack tact themselves. Sometimes they sound elitist themselves. And yes, sometimes they move like they've forgotten who the working class, black South African, white South African, every other South African is. But give credit where credit is due. The DA are the only ones in the GNU who are standing up to wash the ANC's dirty dishes. And then the EFF is in the kitchen with the looters. They are either quiet or trying to not make eye contact with the miss, hoping for a cabinet position and a BMW X5 with tinted windows like everyone else. The DA is saying, wait, hold up, where's the money for education? Why did the electricity bill get higher after we fixed Eskom? Who's in charge of the roads in the Eastern Cape that are sinking like the Titanic? And the answer from the ANC and its...
Imagine being an actual Zimbabwean kid, bro, in Zimbabwe. And you're reporting like this seriously, masquerading as a South African. Hey, the end of days. Yo, if the rumors are true, this is a scam of the ages. This is something to behold. This is something to remember. Look at the passion to talk about the DA and what it does. Imagine, Donna, you are in Bulawayo or somewhere like that.
Political fanboys. It's shut your mouth or leave. Make it make sense. This whole government of national unity thing was sold to us like a collaboration album between your favorite artists, DA.
Sold to us, and you are in where? Harare. Haibo. Yes. Harare is in Zimbabwe, right?
ANC, IFP, Rising Sansi, everyone was supposed to play a part. Instead, it's turning into a monopoly where ANC is still the landlord and everyone else is just a tenant living on borrowed time.
And when we accept EFF or MK, that's fine. But we're not going to DA. We're choosing to stay out with other small parties out of that GNU arrangement. That is a fair thing. When I met President Ramaphosa, I proposed that. I said, if you have a problem with going with the EFF.
Hey, you can see Colonel Chris Wyatt and his techniques written all over this kid. Divert. Talk about something else other than the shame that white people are experiencing, bro. Talk about the EFF in an entire video about the DA lacking the balls to leave the GNU and become an opposition member.
And when the DA even bothers to make noise, they're divisive. When the IFP stays quiet, they're mature. When Malema talks spicy, he's bold. Only when it suits them. It's like a house party where one guy makes the rules, breaks the rules, and then kicks you out for having a problem with the rules because he changes them all the time. Bro, who does that? Who's doing this? And then Malema, a man who used to call the ANC dogs, thieves, and enemies of the people, is suddenly protecting them like it's his favorite soccer team. Alright guys, nah, something is off. Something is off here. You know what this is, right? It's psychological warfare. It's intimidation. It's manipulation. It's keeping the DA on edge so that they can either become silent or walk away. And then Malema and friends can say, you see, you tried unity and then you failed. This is the same tactics abusers use. If you don't like how I teach you, leave. But if you leave, you're the problem and I'm the victim. It's not about building unity. It's about building an excuse to remove accountability. You, the citizen, are watching a slow motion hijacking of democracy. And if the DA does walk away, guess what? Malema will say they were never serious about nation building. And if they stay, the ANC will keep bullying them into silence. There is no winning in this rigged game. Unless you, yes, you watching this, need to see this for what it is. Malema doesn't want unity. The ANC doesn't want allies, they want scapegoats. And the GNU is not about the people. It's about saving face in front of international eyes after elections that rattled their power. They want the DA to sit in parliament, sign off on corruption, and take the blame when things fall apart. But this isn't just about the DA anymore. It's about any South African, white, black, colored, Asian, Indian, who stands up and says, hey, that's not right. And when you say that, they'll tell you, if you're unhappy, leave. Sound familiar? You think the youth are just lazy? No, we're disillusioned. We are seeing that the politicians are playing chess and we're the pawns. We are watching parties form unity governments that have no real unity, no accountability, no humility. Then you wonder why nobody cares about voting anymore. Because when the system is built to shut up the few voices that do speak up, we feel like it's pointless to even try. This is where we say, not on our watch. You cannot keep calling people disruptive just because they challenge you. You cannot gaslight the opposition into silence. And you damn sure cannot tell people to leave when you invited them in the first place. Malema wants DA gone? Cool. But guess what? Then tell the country the truth. You never wanted unity. You wanted submission when you admit that they can let them. And South Africans don't submit that easily anymore. The new generation isn't buying your PR, your party speeches, or your convenience.
Hey, Ronaldo Ho said they should leave, bruh. He's a white guy, former DA member. Malema is catching smoke. For what? Hey, yeah, Colonel Chris, I taught you well.
In outrage. We want leaders who argue, who debate, who disagree, and hold each other accountable for their actions. So if the DA gets pushed out of the GNU, let it be known, they didn't leave unity, they escaped a political hostage situation. And if Malema thinks bullying will make us shut up, we'll be even louder, because this country belongs to all of us. Not the one who shouts the loudest or has the red beret on. Not the one who lies the fastest, but the ones who dare to speak even when told to shut up. Let's keep it that way. This is the Summer Sambit. Like.
Hey, Piggy. Hey, yeah, no. Hey. Yeah, we are singing out here. Michelle. Hey, yeah, no. This boy is giving me the giggles today. Now, we're in the same video again. Hopping over now to Colonel Chris Wyatt, who's got a much shorter video. Let's get right to it and see similarities between the script. And if you were to check, if it was to show when the videos were dropped, okay. Let's go back one more. 5 hours ago, right? Okay, let's see if there's some kind of coordination of timing and wording. Let's see when Colonel Chris Wyatt dropped his.
The Democratic Alliance's big nothing burger press conference over the weekend amounted to little more than all bark and no bite. Democratic Alliance leader John Steenhuisen found himself in the awkward position of delivering a speech that all but stated that the Democratic Alliance was going to leave the governing national unity, only to get right up to the finish line and drop out. It kind of felt like someone running the entire comrades in the last 100 meters, dropping to the ground, unable to finish the race. Now, the party lost a lot of credibility, and likely many voters as well, with this foolish ultimatum stunt that it pulled last week. It seemed to be a bit of intemperance. While the party did not state emphatically that it would call for a vote of no confidence against President Cyril Ramaphosa, it did say it was losing confidence in him. Now, talk in the media this week and among political analysts today is all about the Democratic Alliance actually pushing for the no confidence vote. Now, should they do so, Cyril may just need to brush up his CV. The DA with just 87 votes cannot unseat him, but there are plenty of other actors who are salivating at the prospect of sending Ramaphosa packing. Chief among them, Julius Malema and the Economic Freedom Fighters. 87 DA votes plus 39 EFF.
Do you see? But it's South African politics, it's facts. I was just hoping that Julius is not going to be mentioned. And look, they're even using a picture of him when he was fed, bro. I was just hoping there'll be a video where the subject matter is dealt with all by itself. DA, riding ANC meet, will they get off or not? Let's see.
Votes gets the motion over halfway to the goal. The only other big block of votes in Parliament is the Umkhonto we Sizwe party with 58 seats. While MK has no love for the DA, Zuma hates Ramaphosa even worse. After all, it was Ramaphosa's government that sent JZ to prison. So chalk up another 58 seats for the cause. That takes us to just 17 seats shy at 184. Now, the only other parties that would most likely be in favor of the vote of no confidence are the Freedom Front Plus with 6 seats and the African Christian Democratic Party with 3, raising the total to 193, 8 short of what's needed to unseat Ramaphosa. That leaves 5 parties that might go along with the no confidence vote and 5 that are very unlikely to join in. The kingmaker that Cyril needs to wine and dine now is Valenkosi Hlapisa's Nkatha Freedom Party with 17 votes. If the IFP turns on Cyril Ramaphosa, it's game over and time to brush up his CV. Now, in his government national unity, Cyril can count on Gabe McKenzie from the Patriotic Alliance and Patricia DeLille from the Good Party to prop him up. Those 10 votes, combined with the ANC's 159, assuming no ANC MPs actually break ranks in a secret ballot, leave the ANC 32 votes short of protecting the president from being tossed out on his nose. Now, Jacob Zuma faced several no-confidence votes while he was president, but survived them all owing to a deeply corrupt parliament with an ANC majority. Cyril doesn't have that same luxury. Meanwhile, the ANC's barker and screamer-in-chief Fikile Mabulula is running around making the usual noise, telling the DA to quit the GNU, falsely claiming that a no-confidence vote means the DA is not in the government of national unity. No, Fikile, it means Parliament has lost confidence in the leadership of the president, not in the government. Perhaps you all should have implemented a genuine republic, not a parliamentary system, leaving the president vulnerable. Because that's where Ramaphosa finds himself vulnerable. And the fact of the matter, ladies and gentlemen, is that Ramaphosa has always been vulnerable from the very beginning. From the moment he became president, he barely won the leadership position in the African National Congress in late 2017 when he defeated Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma by just 35 votes. Well, he won by about 70, but 35 people voting the other way changes the outcome. So he barely won, and you can see that in his first cabinet, which was full of Zuma stalwarts. Dead weight, radical economic transformation players who undermined his presidency from the outset. But it seems as if Cyril really doesn't care about leading South Africa. It's all about his ego, because he seldom makes the right decisions for South Africans. Although, to be fair, he does often make the right decisions for the ANC's interests. But the ANC's interests do not coincide with South Africa's interests, and that's the sad part. Under the African National Congress, poverty is out of control. The number of black South Africans living in abject poverty is triple what it was under the National Party's apartheid system. Let that sink in. Townships have popped up all over the place, informal settlements being blamed on apartheid, but they didn't exist under apartheid. They're all a creation of the PI Act and the corruption under the ANC over the past 30 years. The ANC does not act in the interest of South Africans, it acts in the interest of the ANC. So, will any members of the ANC, if there's a secret ballot, vote to unseat Ramaphosa? I suspect there are some people who do it, particularly when they see MK and EFF vote to unseat him. So Ramaphosa is cocky and arrogant. He thinks he's safe, but he's not. And if the DA actually has the internal fortitude, the testicles, the courage to do a vote of no confidence, we could very well see the end of Cyril Ramaphosa's presidency. Which raises a question, who succeeds him? Well, I think the only candidate that makes any sense, and that may be why they may sit on the sidelines, is, of course, Valenkosi Hlapisa from the IFP. But that won't go down very well with ANC members. So there you have it, folks. Talk this week of a vote of no confidence against President Cyril Ramaphosa. Will it happen? Won't it happen? Well, your guess is as good as anyone else's. Only insiders know. And they're not telling us. But if there's a vote of no confidence, there's a good chance that South Africa will lose its current president. What say you, South Africa, Mzansi? Cheers.
Yeah, aye. Dope analysis there. Colonel Chris. Huh? Yeah. Yeah. Not much propaganda there. It's an actual analysis. You all can see that Ramaphosa may fall. At some point, Julius did say that if the NC continues to talk like this about us, the day that the DA says they want a motion of no confidence, we're going to vote with them, and this country might have a white president in the form of John Steenhuisen. So that ends that video, and hope you like, hope you comment, hope you share, and you subscribe. And I'll be seeing you in the next one as we keep track of the Zimbabwe-US-Israel propaganda in the form of Colonel Chris Wyatt and his young apprentice there, Sambit. I will see you. And yeah, cut. So now, hop on over straight to Helen Zille. So this is a bit of a long one. I listened to Clement Manyathela earlier. I've heard all of Helen Zille's reasons. So this one, I expect to pretty much hear the same things. So let's go straight into it. We've got a comment. Kana Colonel said he's a journalist. Ne? Yeah, man. He said he's a journalist. A journalist who was attacking the South African Human Rights Commission with Ronaldo Gous the same journalist who was bringing us news first about African refugee program, and what else? He was the one who was shipping out the 59ers coming to South Africa, organizing a chartered flight, organizing security for them to be ushered out. Yeah, man, what a journalist, bro. I mean, he was saying that the bill, the expropriation, and what else? You were saying that the ANC should knock the nonsense if they want to keep AGOA or what is the other one? USAID. So now, it makes you wonder what kind of rogue journalism, what kind of aggressive journalism that is. Which other journalists, bro, have you seen shipping people out, like that? Isn't he still acting in the capacity of a man serving the US Army? Come on. So, let's get into Helen Zille over this one.
With me now is the chairperson of the Federal Council of the Democratic Alliance, Helen Zille. Thank you so much for your time. It has been certainly fun and games over the weekend from a political perspective and a lot of brinkmanship coming to the fore. What are the chances, Helen, that the ANC is going to pull the trigger? They are meeting today. Is there any way that they can actually fire you from the government of national unity?
Yes, of course they can. I mean, the president can fire all his ministers. So he can fire us, and there are many people in the ANC wanting to fire us. But the fact is that I think the president knows, and many of his ministers know, what the consequences will be. The rand will crash. We'll be lucky if it's 25 rand to the dollar. The economy will go into a tailspin. Investors will withdraw. Unemployment will increase. We'll probably be pushed out of AGOA. Tariffs will go up. The unemployment in the agricultural sector will soar. And South Africa will have one of those huge jolts of history that take us another level down, a big level down. And I think the more sensible people in the ANC know that, and that's why they've been very careful not to kick us out. They want us to leave.
Ayo, will all of these things happen before the DA was in the GNU? I mean, it's not like the DA came in and they've rescued or turned the situation and lifted it or made it better in any way such that when they leave, they would leave with the benefit and the aid that they brought in. We would go back to a pre-DA in government era. It would be the days of old where the DA is just governing Cape Town over there and their opposition, as they are already looking like they are opposition within the GNU itself. I mean, the markets the markets react in advance of things, actually happening. So the market should have been panicking already because of this shakiness that is currently happening in the country. And I wonder, bro, because there's no vacuum, if she says investors will pull out, like the DA will leave the GNU, and then an example of an investor's assets would be restaurants or hotels or Ubers on the street or, shares on the stock market. You are telling me that what Helen Zille is saying there, that there will be a collapse. You mean that somebody will literally close down their restaurant? There won't be anybody wanting to eat that day, or there'll be a queue standing outside and the investor will just pull out and go where? And because there's no vacuum, what if other investors decide to buy the dip? Isn't that where, I mean, if that is possible and it can happen, would the Chinese not suddenly take that opportunity to, cushion as the white people pull out? And I do not believe that white people will simply pull out their investments overnight in such a way. I just don't see it. I've studied enough capitalism. I've listened to enough capitalists, investors. I know what an investor is looking for. Investors are opportunists. Investors, bro, are like sex tourists. They want a place where the cookie is tight and it's cheap for a long time. Yeah. So where you'd go and buy some cookie in Eastern Europe and it's $150 for 1 hour, the investor wants to go where the cookie is $50 for the whole night. They're looking for a discount. So a country that is relatively stable in terms of the people consuming, an economy where there's so little competition, black people are not opening businesses, they're stuck without loans, without ideas. South Africa is the place where whiteness is whitest at the current moment. Even the Americans earning the American dollar. The dollar doesn't do very much in the US. The dollar does a lot outside of the US. Passport bros who go to Thailand, who go to places where they say there's exotic women. That's what investors are chasing. You see? So this is the same thing they said about Tshwane when former Mayor Brink was kicked out. Yeah. Thank you. You see the lies? I mean, they said when Mandela dies, the whole country will go to rubbish because apparently the black people are currently behaving because we are still respecting of Mandela. We don't want to show our monkeyism. The moment he croaks, we're going to go. That's that type of mindset. They even said the same about the Afrikaners leaving. They say that there'll be food shortages. You want to tell me that 10 farmers can leave their farms and there won't be 10 coming in to like a revenue generating business? Let's say it's a macadamia farm, bro, where the yield is 21 million. How many times a year? I think the yield is twice a year on a macadamia farm. Correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody once told me that a white lady they're doing a documentary for the WWF. We were driving past some macadamia. It was like, hey, the people who own this are rich, my brother. So the owner vacates. Those macadamia nuts are sold and exported to the United States. You're going to tell me that somebody can just up and leave that? No, bruh. There's ShopRite in war zones in Africa. Like, there's a ShopRite right here, and there's rebels shooting. A machine gun there. DSTV is in war zones. They've gone to invest and go fetch money in countries where blood is flowing. You're going to tell me that a relatively chill South Africa like this, with docile black people who depend so much on white people are just going to leave that privilege and go where? Go join the Amerikaners. Take their money where? To the United States. Come on, man.
Want to do what is called a constructive dismissal on us, which is why they are doing this again and again. But no one knows more than we do what the consequences are of us leaving for jobs, for the economy, for growth, for the future of the country. We also know that Paul Mashatile would then now come in, and he's very closely involved in the lotto tender and a whole range of other things. We'd have corruption on steroids, and we'd have EFF and MK possibly in government. And after Donald Trump showed that Kill the Boer chant, sung very gustily, by Julius Malema to the whole world, you can imagine the reverberations of that.
I was listening to an interview yesterday. You have said you are not going to make it easy for them to get you out of the government of national unity.
We're certainly not going to make it easy. They'd love it if we walked and then took the blame for everything that will follow. We're not going to do that, and they know that we're not going to walk out, but we're not going to be treated like a doormat either. And there are lots of steps between being treated like a doormat and walking out. The penultimate step to walking out is to do a motion of no confidence in the president. Now, we've done the sums, we've done all the adding up, and we think we can get to 196 or 197 votes to outvote the president. And that would probably succeed, because I've never seen the ANC bring all its parliamentarians into the House ever, not even when there's a three-line whip. There's always someone doing something else, shopping or in a hotel room with someone or overseas or somewhere. And so it would be very, very close if we got 197 votes, absolutely, and Ramaphosa would know that his life was on a string. And if we're not there, it's very likely that the ANC will internally recall Ramaphosa, as they've done to all of the other presidents, except Nelson Mandela. So he knows what's at stake, and they all know what's at stake, and we are going to take intermediate steps from doing nothing is not an option. We're going to take intermediate steps until such time as we have to take the big one, which is a motion of no confidence. If the president wants to throw us out in the meantime,
Please specify what you mean.
that's up to him. I've got a new phone that talks to me all the time. I'm sorry about that.
No problem. This is new technology that we need to deal with in our world. Let's talk a bit about this vote of no confidence. When we chatted a couple of weeks ago,
Where did that
you
voice
said to me when
come
I said,
from?
right,
The
what about a
one
vote of
that
no confidence in
is
Ramaphosa?
Helen Zille
You said, but we have to be very careful in terms of the alternative.
receive instruction,
to Ramaphosa.
or is
Isn't
there
that a very dangerous card?
another co-host of this show who said, clarify what you mean?
No, you said to me when I said, right, what about a vote of no confidence in Ramaphosa? You said, but we have to be very careful in terms of the alternative out of it.
Please specify what you mean.
The big one, which is a motion of no confidence. If the president wants to throw us out in the meantime,
Please specify what you mean.
that's up to him. I've got a new phone that talks to me all the time. I'm sorry about that.
Oh,
No problem. This is new technology that we need to deal with in our
like a
world.
Siri.
Let's talk a bit about this vote of no confidence. When we chatted a couple of weeks ago, you said to me when I said, right, what about a vote of no confidence in Ramaphosa? You said, but we have to be very careful in terms of the alternative to Ramaphosa. Isn't that a very dangerous card?
No, we do have to play it very carefully. It is a dangerous card, there's no question. But if Ramaphosa becomes indistinguishable from the corrupt RET faction, then we've got no other card to play. If he carries on doing what he's doing, which is simply ignore the statement.
Hey, yo, it's Siri, finally, Bonge. A pixel. That's Google Assistant. Oh, yeah, man. Glad you spotted that. Yo, finally, Bong. Ted.
Of intent, treat us as if we are adjuncts that really don't matter, behave as if the ANC got an overall majority, then we're going to have to show him it didn't.
In terms of a reconstituted GNU, people are talking MK, EFF, ANC, but I mean, if you look at the lie of the land, ANC and Zuma are at loggerheads in terms of, right now, former President Zuma is taking the ANC to court again, this time over cancelling his membership last year. And you've got First Deputy Secretary Nomvula Mokonyane saying almost over their dead body, will they allow the former member back into the ANC? So is that a reality that MK would align, or the ANC would align with the MK in a new coalition?
Well, most certainly MK would be first on the wagon if there was a motion of no confidence in the president. They would definitely. And even if MK didn't go into government, you would have a minority coalition. And that would be very interesting to look at. Because then the DA would have the balance of power on every single issue.
You definitely have more power in the GNU than out of the GNU. Can you just confirm that fact?
Well, we have more power in our portfolios, obviously. So the ANC has got the Bella Act, but we've got the Minister of Basic Education. The ANC can do a whole range of things in agriculture, but we've got the minister. And that is probably the only reason why we're not getting slapped with 30% tariffs on our agricultural exports, because the DA has the ministry, and we've got a lot of respect in Washington. And so I can go on. The Expropriation Act, we're going to defeat in court. But the act is there, but we've got the Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure. So, it helps to have.
Yo, so she says that Washington respects the DA, and because the DA is there would have been a 30% tariff on the exports. And so what? If the DA was to leave, the white farmers who are currently benefiting so much would get slapped with a tariff. I mean, the tariff is not theirs. They get paid. The goods are bought from them. They price them and they send them out. These tariffs, they are going to get paid by Americans, meaning that the products will be more expensive in the US on shelves. So what the tariffs could do would be simply to drop the amount of demand, because when the price goes up, demand goes down slightly. So yes, the one who gets hurt by this is the farmer. And so the DA is there to protect that. And if they are made to go, made to leave, or they leave, this threat about 30% tariffs, it's a gun being held over whose head exactly here? You see, we don't have farms. We're not selling macadamias. It looks like your head, your neck is in the noose here. This hurts nobody but you. Like, you're screwed all over. That's why the DA is riding the NC's meat. They've got food that they want.
Those people in those key positions, those crucial positions. And we will make as much as we can out of them. We know very well that Minister Schreiber is making progress in leaps and bounds in home affairs. So we've got a lot of power and we do a lot of things, and we do a lot of things well, and we're producing really good outcomes. So all of that is going well. But we're not going to be treated like a doormat. And we're going to make sure that our response is commensurate to what has gone wrong. Now, what went wrong this time is that the President fired our Deputy Minister, Andrew Whitfield, who did nothing wrong. Nothing wrong whatsoever. The handbook that governs overseas travel says that if a member of the Cabinet or a Deputy Minister wishes to travel abroad on government business, and that agreement, the tariffs have been in place
for a long time, even before the DA came in here, right? So these are idle threats, correct? The United States can't be sending Americans over there trying to act like it's protecting them from unemployment and oppression and, crime in South Africa. And then raise tariffs, reduce demand on South African farmers' produce, and then claim still to be protecting them. Right? They can't do that. The US itself has locked itself in a corner where they just have to defend and protect the white people at all costs. And so the threat about tariffs increasing, whether the DA is here or not, that's total rubbish. When we look at the whole chessboard, we can see how it's going to play out.
But I would like to go. If the President had replied and said, no, you can't, even though he doesn't have to,
Michelle Lee,
I can understand why. I can understand why the President would have been very cross and would have fired him. But the President did not say no. In fact, he did not answer, even though Whitfield's office phoned his office every single day for an answer. It wasn't as if he just said one letter and forgot about it. He asked every day. And in the end, when the time ran out, Whitfield got on the plane and left, knowing that there was nothing incumbent on him to have asked for permission in the first place. Now, if it had been about the trip overseas, why does the President wait till the end of June to fire him?
I listened to an interview by Andrew yesterday. It was over the weekend. I think he did it before the weekend. And the implication there was that he potentially was pushing the wrong buttons in terms of what he was finding out. And one has got to wonder whether that has something to do with his boss, Parks Tau, as Minister of Trade and Industry and Competition, and whether Andrew was, in fact, pushing Parks's buttons.
Well, Andrew was pushing the ANC's buttons. Remember, the lotto tender has been coming up for a long time. And we were going to get the whole portfolio of industry, trade and industry and competition. We were going to get that whole portfolio. And when Cyril Ramaphosa took it to his caucus, Paul Mashatile in particular had a fit and said, no, that can't happen. What we didn't know at the time was about Paul Mashatile's family connections to the lotto contract. Now we do. And I would imagine that goes a long way to explaining why we couldn't get that portfolio.
What happens to Andrew now, as an aside? Within the DA, and quite a shock from for him, I mean, to walk away from this position, well, he was effectively fired.
For us, it's not about positions and status and stuff. It really isn't. And it's rough for Andrew, but he's been the first person who said, this is not about me and it's not about a position, it's about a principle. We're being sidelined here because we're asking too many difficult questions. And the smokescreen that is being used is nothing more than a smokescreen. They had to dig around and find a reason. They found a non-reason because the president was at fault if he thought that I needed to have permission. Why didn't he reply? And that is, of course, true. If one of your colleagues, and if you're a manager, and your colleague writes to you and says, please, may I know, I have to do this, there's an urgent issue that I have to deal with, it's in 10 days' time, may I please take leave? And you don't reply, even though your office has been nudged and nudged and nudged, and you know the request is there, you couldn't fire that person for going because you didn't read the correspondence or reply to it. It doesn't make sense, not even for a president.
Mhlengi Bengu,
It seemed like the president was also wrong in a way to not respond and give a no to this person, because the president apparently acknowledged that he has received the letter, but then did not give consent. And so that is sketchy. It seems aggressive. Seems like he's commeling them. He's blue-ticking the DA. And these kind of things go on record. And the DA looking for excuses to blame someone else. The president should not have just acted like that because they're just going to pounce. As you can see, the president gave his reasons now, but they are now sticking to the fact that, no, two wrongs don't make a right. You were quiet. Why were you quiet? And it said that this is a 4-month issue. So did the president try to play tough in a way that is just too public? Could he have played tough and played smarter moves? Because this looks like it's a temper tantrum. It's a, I'm the boss. And now history is going to remember that this issue with the DA starts, if the GNU ends, it will be remembered that Ramaphosa had a hand in the beginning by this minister. Is he a minister? Who is he, that guy? I think he is, no? Correct me if I'm wrong. They'll say, yeah, you fired that person without really following due process and doing your homework and responding to WhatsApps from people who want to fly to the USA. So, bruh, that just sucks. But we'll get over it, man.
the ANC spokesperson, said that the Democratic Alliance is consistently transgressing the statement of intent, in that all signatories to the statement of intent said that they would not tamper with redress policies. And yet the Democratic Alliance is challenging NHI, it is challenging Land Without Expropriation Bill, NHI, Bella, as a matter of course. Your response?
We believe in redress. We don't believe in ANC corruption under the smokescreen of redress. The NHI has got nothing to do with redress. The NHI is about bankrupting this country and creating a massive looting pot for the ANC. It's going to make healthcare much worse, and there are many ways to make healthcare much better for all, and including getting it up to private sector standards on the strategy that the DA has. We're totally in favor of redressing the imbalances of the past, and we've got the policies to do it. But NHI is unaffordable to the country. It will bankrupt the country. It will destroy what is left of good healthcare. And that's got nothing to do with transformation as far as we are concerned. There is ANC's type start transformation, which is destroy anything that works. That is the ANC's definition of transformation. Then we go on to the Expropriation Act. The Expropriation Act has nothing to do with transformation. There are three other laws that have something to do with land redistribution and restitution. There are three other laws. The ANC was very sneakily trying to bring in expropriation without compensation into a law that was not meant for the purposes of redress. It's meant for what they call eminent domain. That's what they call it in the United States, where, for example, if we urgently need to put in an electricity pylon, or if we need to move something and use somebody's land for a dam that is urgently needed. It's for infrastructure. It is not for restitution. The other acts that are for restitution say, within these deadlines, people must put in these claims to do this kind of thing. The window has been opened twice again, now it is closed. However, what the ANC is trying to do in the Expropriation Act is open that window in perpetuity. So there's never a deadline for anything. And a government official can recommend land for expropriation without compensation and without adequate reasons. So it is completely, completely untrue that that is a transformation mechanism. It is a mechanism for the ANC to continue land grabbing as long as they like. So we are absolutely determined that that's got nothing to do with restitution and land reform. We thoroughly supported the land reform and the land restitution legislation.
Is anyone taking the statement of intent? Is anyone taking the statement of intent seriously in this
We're taking it dead
relationship?
seriously. We're taking it dead seriously. We've abided by it every step of the way. The reason why we took the national dialogue seriously is because it's in the statement of intent. But the way the statement of intent is supposed to be, well, it applies to decisions that are taken and initiatives that are taken, is that it has to be by consensus. And the DA wasn't consulted. This was another unilateral move by the ANC with the absurd price tag of 740 million rand.
Hey, what's up? So my wife just came home. She just came home from work, right? So I want to cut this out of the main episode, but you who's on chat, y'all are noticing her over here. Say hi.
The absurd price tag of that. And we know exactly what that is, Bronwyn. That is the way of losing the state for the ANC's 2026 election campaign. That's what it is.
Yourself and John have spoken about clause 19.3, which is the consensus that is required. Now, the ANC doesn't take that seriously. I've heard repeatedly from the Democratic Alliance. Do you want to just offer your view there?
Well, it doesn't take anything seriously. I mean, first of all, they ignored the proportionality clause. They said they were going to have 27 cabinet ministers. We should have had 9 out of those 27. We settled for 6 because the ANC refused to give us any more, and we didn't want to pull the plug out of the boat on 3 more, so we left it there. Then they inflated it to way over 30, completely violating the proportionality clause. They violated every single clause so far, and the one that they absolutely ignore is the clause that says, number 18 says, all decisions are taken by consensus. Clause 19 explains what consensus is, and if we can't reach consensus, what sufficient consensus is. We've been asking since the beginning for an institutional mechanism to land that clause of how we work on sufficient consensus and what happens if we can't reach it. They have tried to step around that with the clearinghouse mechanism. We said we'd give it a try. It was a complete farce. It was a ruse to try and get us into something that was designed to circumvent the sufficient consensus clause in the most cynical and dishonest way. We give everything a chance until the ANC once again proves how dishonest, how cynical, how manipulative they are, and how they still have not even begun to grasp that they don't govern this country alone.
What are you expecting to unfold from here? You must have, as an executive, mapped out some scenarios in terms of what they...
Yeah, hey, what's up? So we've got Tapelo saying hi, Mrs. Pulushi, and Fanele Sibonge Mthethwa. Hello, Mama. Good to see you. #melts. And the noble nitpicker. Tobela. Yeah. She say hi. And Michelle Lee says, hello, sister. Say hi, baby. Let them hear your voice.
Hello.
How are you, baby?
I'm okay.
How was work?
It was great.
Sure. She's home safe. Let's continue with the work.
they're going to come back with.
Well, let's come back with what they come back with. And we then make a judgment. We've got a very sensible federal executive. The federal executive all get together. We sit and we discuss what the options are. We look at the consequences. We try to determine what the unintended consequences are going to be. We map it all out. We game it all out. And then we have a rational discussion around the link between the transgression and the response. We do all of these things very carefully, and then we decide on the response. We're ratcheting it up slowly, step by step, and we come very close to the numbers for a no-confidence motion, which we are not scared to play. But you do that for the real Hiroshima, because that is the nuclear option.
I'd be remiss if I didn't just bring into the conversation the position as mayor of Johannesburg, and whether that is still very much in the pipeline, Helen, from your perspective.
I have applied, and the interviews haven't taken place yet. I'm swatting like hell, everything I can about Johannesburg. But I'll go through the interviews like everybody else, and I'll see what comes out the other end. But if I am chosen, if I am selected, and they're good candidates, so you mustn't expect me to be elected. If I'm selected, I will go and give it my best shot.
Helen Zille, thank you so much for your time here on Business.
Oh yeah, so we are done with this one, right? Yeah. So let's bid farewell then. So thank you for joining me. We will be watching regularly as close and watching white people, the Ronaldo hosts, the other people there, you know. I am loving what has happened this year. And I'd like to take a bit of credit for it. I think I started some kind of new thing. It wasn't a thing for black YouTubers or black political commentators and or white ones to talk to one another for cross-pollination, for an understanding. We always spoke in silos, in opposition, in different camps. But ever since February, when I paid direct attention to the host, because with the Roman Cabernets, what happened to, I don't know. Sorry about that. But I should have bid farewell. Let me just bid farewell. I'll cut off that portion so that the video ends, and then we'll talk a little bit. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me on this Biz News TV episode. Hope you like, hope you share, and you subscribe, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Yeah, so that's it. The public has received us, the streamers who are in the live chat, are now off air for a Yo. Yo. What is suddenly happening? I'm being told the audio is slacking. Yeah, man, I was wondering what suddenly happened. Like when it's audible now, can see by the arrows, by the levels. When I was busy trying to show you this dessert, I had to press a button there and something suddenly changed. The monitor doesn't look the same, but we can hear each other. Let's try to get through this one. I'll make sure to keep my eyes on the levels. Or maybe it's the cable. Maybe it's also the cable. So let's look at Bargemang, Tyler Perry. Ooh, this black man, Barry, loves white men. Oh, Jesus.
Tyler Perry, how you feel about the allegations he being accused of?
We got to deal with Tyler. When you talk about the jealousy that the music industry has for black men, it's insane, bro. It's insane. Tyler Perry goes to the BET Awards. He gives a speech, and he's an excellent orator, by the way. I'm an orator. I study oratory. Tyler Perry could have been a pastor.
Yo, Umar Johnson is representing South Africa. What do you think about that?
Or community activist. He's a very good speaker, very good public speaker. He says that I've made more millionaires than every other studio in this city combined. That's what he said. And don't you know, I don't know if it was the next day, but it was definitely the same week. All of a sudden, he gets hit with a $260 million lawsuit from Derek Dixon, who met Tyler Perry in 2019 as an employee of an event company. So he was working at one of the events that Tyler Perry contracted this event company to come to and host. He met Tyler Perry there. Tyler Perry invited him to audition for an upcoming show called Ruthless. Later on, Tyler Perry tells him, allegedly, according to Derek Dixon's attorney, Tyler Perry told him, I can change your life. Stick with me, I can change your whole life. He then invites him to audition for a role on The Oval, Tyler Perry series The Oval. Derek Dixon stars in 85 episodes of The Oval between 2020 or 2021 until 2024, 2025. In January of 2020, Art, right before COVID, Tyler Perry allegedly texts Derek Dixon and says, among other things, I can't remember the last time I had really good sex. Now, as a heterosexual male, if another man sends me a text telling me he can't remember the last time he had good sex, I already know that ain't somebody I need to be around alone. Because he clearly got the wrong idea about me. In fact, I'm going to have to let him know. In the future, fam, I don't need to know about your sex life. So Tyler Perry texts him this. He can't remember the last time he had great sex. And then he invites Derek Dixon to his house. Derek Dixon goes to Tyler Perry's.
Yo, man, we recently became famous because of this white farm murder thing. And Umar Johnson has been here in South Africa. So we are very relevant at the current moment. The bridge between the US and South African media has now been established, and it should be maintained from here on out. In Africa, on the world stage, it's South Africa who are singing the best in the whole of Africa. So Umar Johnson there, repping South Africa. Shout out to him. But I don't like his defense of Tyler Perry. I've heard this as well about how he's defended R. Kelly. And he says that there's a conspiracy there to put down a black man. And who else? He's defending Diddy in a way. He says, who has ever been arrested for freak-offs? Because the Hugh Hefners have been having those for a long time. And he also defended Bill Cosby. I think the Shannon Sharp thing, he's also spoken on that, and he's saying it's a conspiracy. You all know Alex Jones? Do you know Alex Jones, the conspiracy theorist who got sued for, was it $2 billion? And he lost his company because he said there was a shooting, I think called Sandy Hook. There was a white guy who went and sprayed a group of people, and Alex Jones went and made some nasty comments about the victims. Said there's a conspiracy there too. So something that is clearly straightforward. There are people who come in and spice it up and saying, hey, look over there. There's something more to this. And so I don't understand, man. There are texts that have been put out, and it's clear that Tyler Perry was soliciting bums from this man who is straight. I get it. Yo, you're not clued up on the people he has defended. But you know their names though. You know Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, Shannon Sharp, I think, and now Tyler Perry. You know their names though.
House in Georgia. He says, allegedly, according to the criminal complaint or the civil suit, he says Tyler Perry gave him some drinks. They were talking. He started to feel a little tipsy. It got late. Tyler Perry tells Derek, it's a little too late for you to drive home tonight. You've been drinking. I have a guest bedroom. Come and stay in my guest bedroom. Derek Dixon goes to the guest bedroom. He's tired. He's been drinking. He's ready to get some sleep. He says he lays down. And at some point, Tyler Perry comes into his room, slips into the bed behind him, and start rubbing the inside of his thigh.
Ooh.
Now, Art, he don't leave. He don't punch him. He don't get dressed and call an Uber or get in his car and get up out of there. In fact, he goes back to work like nothing happened. You could have sued him right there. But he says, and this is where I think Tyler Perry has some room to stand and defend himself. Derek repeatedly alleges
I get you, noble
his
nitpicker.
job and his career. Well, if you're concerned about your job and your career, and this black man is sexually harassing you, why not turn him in? Why isn't your manhood or your self-respect, even if you're homosexual, if this man is sexually assaulting you, because you can be sexually assaulted as a homosexual as well, why not turn him in?
Hey, yo, if I was to be a guy who gets attempted or assaulted like that by a billionaire, I would try to sue him rather than get him in handcuffs in a criminal case or whatever. Yeah, that's what I'd do. I mean, I'd be an American. I'm basically putting myself in an American context, being assaulted by a Tyler Perry in the land of predatory lawyers. You understand? There's an industry of people who are looking to sue somebody. Billionaires and multimillionaires just know that there's somebody you can step on their toes and they can, sue you or something. So seems like the best thing to do, bruh. If Tyler Perry didn't screw you and he tried and he's so horny that he has sent you texts that destroy his credibility, that expose him for who he is underneath, do you want to try him in a criminal court or do you want to try him in the public and in the civil courts for some money? My bruh. If you come and you touch my thighs, bruh, I'm buying a mansion. I don't want you getting arrested. Bruh, I want to drive Ferrari. You touch my thighs, dog, and you're rich. And you send me texts soliciting my straight bumps. No, man, I gotta get rich. So I think that's why the white dude just decided to take his money instead. That girl as well, the white girl who is pursuing Shannon Sharp, she has the same mind. She was like, yo, while we are together here, I can see you're busy sending me texts and voice notes where you are telling me that after you're done with me, no one else is gonna want me. So, gatluzongibhebha yonke imimbobo nje, kahle funa ukungimosha nje, so that no one wants me afterwards. And it was like, okay, this sounds freaky, nasty to a couple who is consenting to such things and they find that humorous. But at the same time, this sounds like a black man who wants to open up the holes of a white girl and maim her and leave her undesirable. Sounds sexy, but sounds predatory. So, I'ma get you. But while Shannon Sharp was getting it in, apparently Shannon Sharp also bangs the back. He was asking this girl for both holes. So while they were together, the girl was taking it, but then eventually she decided, you know what, let me just take your money because I done took you in my ass.
Why are you saying I put up with it for the sake of the job?
Is his broader point not that there are plenty other people who've engaged in these acts? Elon Musk pretty said as much during his spat with Trump. Where are the Epstein files? Misspelled on purpose. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I get you. There are a lot who are busy doing this, but it's whataboutism. Echo, isikhathi sakho masifikile Joe. Sifikile Joe. Yabona. Immorality is not sustainable, man. This planet was made by God who, even in these last days where people are immoral and they don't stick to God's standards at all, and people have elected to have their own standards, ne? People have decided that, okay, it's fine to decide consensually that you'll ask your girl for bums and she will give you. Privately, that's cool. You all can do that. But she knows that these dealings, these private dealings, these private fetishes that people have are embarrassing in the outside. You see? They are shameful still. They are acceptable when they are private. And so girl was like, yo, bruh, this world has gone to hell, but immorality is still immorality. It may be fashionable to date white girls only as a black man, but this is still white America. You're still purporting yourself to be a heterosexual male, but you out here banging my ass, and that says there's potential that you're banging someone else, maybe even a man. So girl was like, yo, bruh, you've become too comfortable in Vegas. This is still sin. This is still bad. This is still scandalous. Your texts look rapey, and you're a black man and I'm a white woman, and the world is going to judge you. So he was like, yo, your time is here, nigga. You enjoyed yourself way too much, and it's time for me now to give you to the KKK white American system over there. So, hey, bruh, hey, it's his time, bro. Others will come. Others will come, man.
To me, you are collaborating and voluntarily participating in this because you could have ended this a long time ago. So anyway, Art, he says that Tyler Perry, throughout this whole relationship of 2020 to 2024, is grabbing his butt cheeks. He says one day Tyler Perry comes into his trailer, grabs him violently by the neck, grabs his butt. Then he says a couple months later, there was another incident. Then the following year, in June of 2021, he says Tyler Perry pulled his underwear down, Art.
Wow.
Help me out. Help me out. If this man allegedly pulls your underwear down and grabs your ass cheeks, why are you not going to a lawyer or going to the police? This man is a billionaire.
Hey, but why did this guy keep on coming back time and time again to Tyler Perry, bro? Yeah, I mean, I just wanted Tyler Perry to just take the fall over here, bro. The Bible says, for there's nothing that is hidden which will not be revealed. So that's why I'm excited that this is being revealed. There are others who are doing this. Hollywood runs on this kind of system of enslaving people sexually, having them do nasty things and giving them work and opportunities because you know that you can embarrass them. That's how contracts are signed, bro. They are signed by intercourse. You know, consummation of marriage. The contract that a man and a woman have when they sleep with one another. There's consummation of contracts by banging in that place over there. And so, it seemed like the dude took his time, bro, so he can take a lot out of Tyler Perry. I'm starting to hear now Umar Johnson's balance of this issue. Baban. Tyler is guilty, but okay, let's hear the rest of the story about the white guy's continuous staying in situations where Tyler Perry could do that to him. But wasn't Tyler Perry pursuing him while he was employed? Isn't that an abuse of his power dynamic? If this was a woman in this position and she says, look, I was desperate, I need money, I need employment, I'm a struggling actor, so I gave in. Actually, currently, a girl who has taken Dr. Kehlelezi to the police, saying that Dr. Kehlelezi hired her to restore his Instagram. And so she chartered the girl, hired her from Cape Town, got her on a flight house. And for him to receive the girl's services, a laptop, which she would be pounds, reset them, and just fix things for him. Apparently, that issue should have been resolved in a day, but there were delays, and the lady ended up now being at Kehlelezi's house until it became nighttime. So Kehlelezi would return, and the lady says she's a big girl. She says that she takes baths multiple times a day, and it's a lady thing to do. And so she decided to rest, take a bath, and sit in... Did you say it was something? She decided to lay under the aircon and just relax. And then did Kehlelezi walk in and take off his pants right away and walk towards her with his member out. Girl says, I was shocked to find that, okay, celebrities are so entitled to people in their spaces. They are asking for bumps or their solicitation or their foreplay. It's quite direct. Hey, no dating, no flirting. You hire me for a laptop or for me to fix your Instagram, and now that I'm here and I'm expecting you to pay me the balance, you're gonna suddenly funnel me in such a way that I need to fulfill one more duty before getting to the bottom of the funnel and I convert and I get my money. You've paid me a deposit, and now for me to get the rest, I must also sleep with you. Kehlelezi would take what he wants to take, and he chowed the woman. And the woman says that, I let it happen. In fact, he didn't just chow me once, he chowed me 4 times. So that's 4 counts, you see. And she says, when he pulled it out and he wanted to have me, he put baby oil on himself. Oh, she says, well, if you're going to just take me, put on a condom. The lady was quite honest. She says, I gave some kind of consent under the circumstances. I am alone in a man's house that I don't know. I'm here for work. And it seems that his celebrity and power allows him to do these kind of things. Maybe he has done this before. Maybe he's demanding. Maybe now that his member is up, something needs to happen, or maybe he turns into a violent man. So rather than this situation melt down and this man force himself on me, I'd rather just consent under duress. You see? So who knows that the white guy kept on coming to work, and Tyler Perry would pull his pants down, come to work another shift, and then Tyler Perry would go and grab his bum. Ngomboti, we are out here, man. We're discussing Tyler Perry grabbing men's cheeks, bruh. The butt, not this cheek over here. We're talking homosexuality and those kind of things. How are you?
He's a billionaire. Why are you hanging around? He says Tyler Perry coerced him into accepting the sexual exploitation because Tyler Perry promised him his own show. Tyler Perry promised him career advancement. He allegedly, Tyler Perry was going to provide him with career advancement opportunities.
Yeah.
So he says he felt like he had to endure this sexual harassment, so it wouldn't mess up his options.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, that means you volunteered for it. You volunteered for it. You were willing to accept it because you thought you would get something out of it. Then he says, Art, around June of 2024, Derek Dixon comes to his senses and he decides that Tyler Perry has been lying to me this entire 4.5-year relationship. He's been lying. From 2020 to June of 2021, that's 4.5. He's been lying. So He says once he came to his realization that he'd been lying, he decided to stop showing up for work. He said Tyler Perry told him he had to take an unpaid medical leave. That's when he got with his lawyer, and that's when he decided to sue. Here's where I'm at. Same mistake as Smokey, same mistake as Shannon. Tyler Perry wasn't taking care of him. Allegedly, Art. Because Tyler Perry has not admitted to being bisexual. He has not admitted to any of these crimes. So I'm saying allegedly, if what this man is saying is true, Tyler Perry made the same mistake as Smokey Robinson, Shannon Sharp, and so many other black men dating non-black people. You didn't take care of him. From what I read, Art, he was being paid $10,000 an episode. And then when he got upset with Tyler Perry, allegedly, he went up to $15,000 an episode or maybe $25,000 an episode. However that go, don't quote me. But initially, he was only getting about 10 grand. Here we go again, Art. Smokey Robinson. If you want these women to be your girl toys, Tyler Perry, allegedly, if you want Derek Dixon to be your boy toy, $10,000 an episode for a billionaire is not going to cut it. I believe, Art, that Derek Dixon, who claims he never had intercourse with Tyler, that's going to be a big thing, Art. Because when I was reading the civil complaint, it doesn't appear that Derek Dixon ever admitted to having any type of relation with Tyler Perry. 4.5 years, no. I wonder if that's true. Because if Tyler Perry can prove, allegedly, that him and Derek Dixon engaged in any type of consensual sexual exchange, I think this case can be thrown out. I think the argument can be made that you was engaged in consensual relations with Mr. Perry. And because you didn't get what you wanted to out of this Gabrielle Zuniga and Jane Doe 1, Jane Doe 2, Jane Doe 3, and Jane Doe 4 for Smokey Robinson, you decided to try to exploit him in the courts for money because you know he's wealthy. So if Tyler can prove that any of this was consensual, I think this case can get thrown out. Why? Because you was around this man for 4.5 years, Art, almost 5 years, and you never did anything about his sexual advancements. Pulling your pants down, grabbing your booty, asking you if you like to be a top or a bottom, asking you about your relations with other men, saying he jealous seeing you around other men. There was too much harassment, allegedly, for you to have not done nothing in nearly 5 years. So if Tyler Perry can prove that they had relations, Art, I think this gets thrown out. Now, if Tyler Perry can't prove that, here's where I stand on this suit.
My 2 cents. Diddy has no defenders in terms of celebrity. Seems no one is coming to Tyler's defense, not even actors he worked with. Are they enjoying the money that much? Hey, bro. People aren't loyal, and they're not loyal to somebody who's on their way down. The relationships are fickle. You see how South African actors die broke, how people are famous but not getting paid well. You saw Brashear Gray, that guy who was on Empire, the young dude, this guy, Brashear Gray, he's broke now. Nah? Brashear Gray made all of that money and he has now lost it. Nah? You see that? Look at that, bro. Huh? Hey, that's another video. Hold up.
Brashear Gray has been missing from the spotlight since Empire came to an end in 2020, and he is now revealing what caused his career to tank. And y'all ain't gonna believe the stories this man has to tell. He went into a lot of detail about how Empire and Hollywood ruined him and threw him out. There was a time when Brashear had it all. He was a star on Empire, he had a great fan base, and he was making some big money. He was still in his 20s when these great things were happening, so there were high hopes that he was going to be a superstar. But then Empire ended, and it's like Brashear's career ended along with it, and people have been wondering exactly what happened. Well, according to new revelations made by Brashear himself,
So like it's clear that Hollywood is set up in a way, bro, where you are made to be so rich, so public, you're given so much so quickly that you've got, it's like having a lot of cocaine, bruh, stuffed into your nose. I know people will OD and die when it's too much, but I'm trying to create a fictional situation where I'm trying to get you to understand that you can be turned into an addict to money. The fame, you can be given a very high position, like let's say a starring role where you're made very famous, and of course people who are watching expect you to be get so rich. In most cases, it's only the big stars who get to make it, but most who show up on these shows that come and disappear like Empire, they'll make some money, enough money, good money, but for the rest of it, they have to act like they're rich. They have to spend more than they have. And Hollywood knows that this is what's going to happen. In the same way that in sports, you've got women, beautiful women, who know that the NBA is full of tall, moneyed boys who did not go to school, who are illiterate. And the NBA, you just know it. There. That's illiterate boys there. Illiterate rich niggas right there. And so there's a constant exploitation that can happen. There's a constant targeting and scammery that can be brought upon basketball players. There's a trap that they can be caught in. And so actors can also be caught in this trap of being given a role where you are rich. You're playing the president of the United States, and now you can't be out on the streets having been on a movie as a black president, acting as Obama, and people are now watching you standing in line at McDonald's. Thereafter, Pella, you need to be Obama on the streets. I agree, we saw you in the movies, and that's where the trap is. Then, once you're trapped, those who run Hollywood say, give me bums. Give me bums. Waban, you've finally fallen into the trap. Just give me some bums and you'll maintain your lifestyle. So, Brashear Gray fell into this. That white guy could have a reason to say, hey, bro, I would have faced situations like Bob Brashear Gray. My season would have ended. The director would have written an episode where I get killed at the end of the season. And he would have said, oh, look, I can write the next season and say that you are alive. You actually survived the death at the end of season 3. And in season 4, you can come back. But just give me a blow job. You know? So let's go. Let's listen to Brashear Gray before going back to Umar Johnson there.
He's the one who messed up and ruined his own career, but he blames the people in the industry for pushing him in the wrong direction. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of things, I need y'all to remember that Brashear was young when he got cast in Empire. He actually got into music when...
Yeah, fanele sibonge. Given then taken. Exactly. It's a gift that you can't hold on to. It's a rental. You have to return this great gift that you've been given.
When he was just 16 years old, and he started rapping under the name Yaz the Greatest. And the cool thing about this is that he was willing to invest in himself even as a young teen, and he was very passionate, man. Which is honestly really tragic considering how his career became such a disaster. Okay, so he was trying to get his rap career off the ground. He got a job at Pizza Hut and used his very first paycheck.
Yeah, man, he should have stayed at McDonald's, Pizza Hut, you see?
He hated the job at Pizza Hut because music was his true passion. But he stuck with it because he needed money to finance his music. He said, I was working at Pizza Hut. I was just tired. I was like, is this life? I just graduated and I started rhyming and really fell in love with it. When I did my first performance, I was like, this is what I really want to do. People loved what I did on stage. I used my first Pizza Hut check to pay for my music video, and I promoted it everywhere on Facebook at crazy hours. I was writing raps at my job and I got fired. After losing his job, he continued promoting himself and putting in the work, and things eventually changed for him when he ran into a man named Charlie Mack, who would later become his manager. Charlie had some connections in Hollywood, and he pulled some strings to have Brashear do an online audition for Empire. Brashear nailed his online audition, and he was flown into LA to audition in person for Lee Daniels, who created the show. Again, Brashear impressed everyone at the audition, and he landed the role of Hakeem Lion on Empire. The show became a big hit, and Brashear's career started taking off. At first, he did everything the right way, and unlike many young men who got a big break in Hollywood, he had his head on straight. He continued making music while working on Empire, and some of his tracks were featured on the show. And while working on the show, he was smart enough to keep his eyes and ears open to learn from older actors like Taraji P. Henson and Jussie Smollett. In an interview, he said, "I learned how to treat a woman from Taraji. She teaches me things on life experiences, cooks for me, Jussie, and Gabby. We hang out outside of set, and it's like a real family. They've been in the game longer. You really have to listen, and it saves you from making mistakes they may have made." He was also self-aware about his abilities as an actor, saying, "My acting abilities are not that developed yet. TV and film will make you grow fast. Things I'm learning now I was taught in high school but wasn't interested in it then, but it's catching my interest now. Like learning scripts. You gotta wake up mentally and prepare yourself. You gotta be ready for that." His career started getting bigger with him landing roles in multiple shows and movies. He continued working on his music career, planning to release an album, go on tour, and all that stuff, but then everything fell apart. We don't know exactly when things went wrong for him, but some people believe that it started when he got pulled over for driving without a license. In 2019, he was pulled over by the cops in Chicago for a routine check, but things quickly went left when the cops discovered that the tags on his car didn't match the registration. It got worse when he was discovered to have also been driving without a license. The case wasn't a very big deal because he was booked on a misdemeanor and released later the same day. But things kind of went left for him after that because he just kept getting in more and more trouble, and the troubles got bigger and bigger every single time. For example, a couple of months after he got pulled over the first time, he went into a 7-Eleven with a friend, and for some reason, his friend spat on the floor. Brashear was trying to clean things up when the cashier saw and started yelling and throwing things at him. Brashear got mad and threw back a bag of chips at the cashier. Even though the police were called, no arrests were made in the case, but his reputation started taking a hit. And after Empire came to an end in 2020, he moved out of the apartment where he was staying, only to get sued by the landlord. The landlord claimed that Brashear and his dog had caused extreme damage to the apartment, costing over $26,000. The landlord claimed that Brashear left dog poop smeared all over the apartment, that he had broken the toilet from flushing down too many condoms, and that he had smoked so much weed in the apartment that there was a lasting smell of weed in the apartment, even though the apartment was a non-smoking apartment. Turned out that our boy Brashear was not as innocent as we thought, but his troubles were just getting started. In July 2020, his wife at the time, Candace Jindar, begged for help from a random passerby on the street, claiming that she was a victim of DV and that her husband had hit her and even choked her until she passed out. She claimed that she had confronted him about cheating on her.
Hey yo, like there's another video, né? Which talks about how he got sexually exploited. I thought this was going to cover his financial and crime and arrest issues and issues with his wife. There's another video that talks about his mom sold him to the industry. They say that his mom was having hopes to become a mom like, to become a parent like the parent of Tiger Woods, who trained Tiger Woods to be a golf pro from the beginning, the parent of Serena and Venus Williams, the parent of Beyonce, the father who was also a manager. So the parents of Hollywood talented kids who understand the industry, they understand how it works, and it's said that they know when they hand their kids over, somebody's gonna wanna bang ass. So the noble nitpicker, think about Hollywood fame. Your unique talents don't really matter. Anyone, even without talent, can be made famous so long as they are willing to pay the price with their cheeks. Yes, that's how plants are made. But here, they'll take Tyler, bro, and make her bigger than Casper Nyovest. She'll go to Nickelodeon and all of these places. They can turn into a Taylor Swift. If the big production companies decide that every 10 years we'll have a Taylor Swift, they can pick anyone to just turn into a Taylor Swift. It's all about, outputting your stuff more until people like it. That's what it's about.
First of all, $260 million is ridiculous. That's number one.
Yo.
But number two, Art, I believe that Derek Dixon would have become Tyler Perry's lover if Tyler Perry gave him what he wanted. If Tyler Perry would have gave him his own show, I think he becomes his lover. Because according to Derek Dixon, Tyler Perry allegedly told him that he wants a male lover who will keep quiet and not become emotionally attached. He claims Tyler Perry told him, I don't have enough time to get emotionally involved in a relationship. So I'm looking for somebody I can smash and dash, who keep their mouth shut and don't get all emotional with me because I ain't got time for that. So basically, he kind of wanted a boy toy. Derek Dixon doesn't seem like he really made it clear to him that he was not going to be that. Here's where I think Tyler Perry messed up. Like I said, he didn't take care of him, Art, but in addition to that, Derek Dixon was not going to be no cheap hoe. He was not going to be no cheap hoe. That's like, Art, you dating a woman and a woman says, you ain't getting these panties until you buy me a car. And you keep trying to get the panties, She said, I'm not giving you no panties until you buy me a car. You buy her the car, you get the panties. If you don't buy the car, you don't get the panties. I simply think Derek Dixon was not a cheap hoe, Art. Tyler Perry didn't keep his end of the bargain, so he never let him smash. Period. Tyler Perry thought he was going to get him before he fulfilled his part of the bargain. Derek Dixon wasn't a cheap hoe. He said, you ain't going to play me cheap. You're going to give me my own show, and if you don't, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep all the text messages. I'm going to keep all the exchange. Just like the Mexicans with Smokey, just like Gabrielle with Shannon, I'm going to keep all the information, Art. And if I don't get my own show, guess what I'm going to do? Run to the lawyers and sue you for $260 million. These wealthy black men, Art, need to learn.
Yeah, you heard, he mentioned Shannon Sharp, Shay, and who is Smokey? That sounds like somebody from the 90s, the 80s, maybe even before Bill Cosby. Let me quickly have a look at Smokey Robbins or whatever.
You cannot deal with non-African women the way you deal with African women. Our sisters are burdened by racism. They are burdened by negative stereotypes from slavery that have never been true of them. Our sisters have never been Jezebels. It was the slave master who sought after our women and raped our women. They didn't pursue them. But that's the stereotype that America has carried for 400 years. And every black woman who goes into court seeking justice against a perpetrator has to deal with the fact that people see her as sexually promiscuous. Mexican women ain't got to worry about that. Caucasian women ain't got to worry about that. Chinese women ain't got to worry about that. Arabs ain't got to worry about that. East Indians ain't got to worry about that. So these wealthy black men, Art, need to understand you can't deal.
Oh yeah, so it is somebody from the 80s, Smokey. I had never heard of his case. I thought it's a long settled case, like probably even before O.J. Simpson. I thought he's the OG of banging these white and exotic to black men. White is exotic to Mexican, Spanish. And it seemed like he's got some allegations. 500 million. Oh, okay, that's his counter. I thought he's also getting taken to the cleaners like that. Yo, at such an old age, bruh. You're going to go... Wow, man. There's a lot going on.
So, with non-African lovers, the way you deal with queens. And our queen shouldn't be mistreated at all. I'm just drawing a comparison here. Tyler Perry, Smokey Robinson, Shannon Sharp, you messing up. Get your act together.
Yeah, from the chicks I've seen, the dude do seem a little high maintenance.
Yes. His whole thing is, I'll be your boy toy. But I'm going to get something out of this because you're a billionaire. You ain't going to play me cheap. And then Derek Dixon's, his attorney, claims that this is what Tyler Perry does to get his lovers. He claimed that there's other men who have worked for Tyler Perry Studios who have been fired because they did not consent fully to Tyler Perry's sexual requests and or constant overbearing harassment. So he says Tyler Perry will put you in shows, write you in, lavish you with all kind of stuff, make you real comfortable with a very firm understanding that you can lose it all if you don't do what I want you to do. So the lawyer claims there's other men who have a similar story to Derek Dixon. He even mentions Cosby, Carter, Combs, Weinstein, and Spacey in the lawsuit. So the lawyer is trying to draw a parallel from Tyler Perry to Bill Cosby, Sean Combs, R. Kelly, Weinstein, and Spacey. He mentions them in the lawsuit. And he says Tyler Perry is using his status and his power to force young, struggling actors into unwanted sexual relationships. I believe he led Tyler Perry on hoping he would get a show. I believe Tyler Perry was never interested in giving him a show. I think he found out Tyler Perry was playing games, and because he's white and still a racist, and Tyler Perry is still black, although a billionaire, and he decided to show Tyler Perry who's really in charge. And this is why I say, Art, it don't matter how much money you have. It don't matter how much power you have. Whenever you're dealing with a white woman or a white man, they still have more power than you. Tyler Perry's a billionaire. Derek Dixon might have been struggling. But guess what, Art? Derek Dixon has the full power of the American criminal justice system behind him. He got the full power of American civil court behind him. He got the full power of American media behind him. He got the full power of American society behind him. Tyler Perry's billions will be neutralized by Derek Dixon's white privilege. They were playing each other. They were playing each other. He was stringing Tyler Perry along long enough to get a show. Tyler Perry was stringing him along long enough to get some booty, allegedly. And it just so happens that Tyler Perry realized he ain't going to get no booty, right? And then Derek Dixon realized, I'm not going to get no show. So Tyler Perry expected him to walk away, Art. He thinking he just going to walk away. Why would he just walk away when you a billionaire? He going to embarrass you and he going to exploit you because at the end of the day, you ain't nothing but a nigga to him and you're supposed to know your place even as a billionaire. When a white person throws a temper tantrum at a black person, you better get ready. That's why it does not benefit us to date outside of our race, Art, because you take too many hits. Look at Smokey. Look at Smokey. Look at Shannon. And now Tyler Perry, a rainbow bunny coming for his bag. 260 minutes. I don't think he gets it because, again, for me, if they're being honest, you volunteered for this, bro. 5 years, you didn't do nothing, no lawsuits, no complaints, no nothing. I'm sorry, he did finally file a complaint against Tyler Perry with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. He did, Art. But I don't think that was until 2024 when he decided to take leave. Tyler Perry said medical leave without pay. It was at the end of the journey, though. It was still too late. I mean, this man texted you and said he can't remember the last time he had good sex, and you're going to go over his house alone and stay the night. He was teasing him on. Both of them were using each other. This was a co-exploitation. Tyler Perry allegedly wanted booty. Derek Dixon allegedly wanted his own show. The only problem, Art, is what? The only person who had something to lose was Tyler Perry. Smokey Robinson. The only person who had something to lose was Smokey Robinson. Shannon Sharp. The only person who had something to lose was Shannon Sharp. Gabrielle Zuniga was her OnlyFans model. Stop dating women outside your race. And if you're going to date women outside your race, make sure, Art, they have as much to lose as you do. Tyler Perry should have found him, if he's into that. I'm not going to say the man is homosexual. If he is bisexual, he should have found somebody who has as much to lose as he does in the entertainment world, and he would have avoided all this. They dating down, Art. They are dating down, thinking they're going to drop these people when they tired of messing with them. It ain't going to happen. You worth too much. Because at the end of the day, every black person in this country, Art, is nothing more than an opportunity and a tool. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you are. I don't care how much money you have. Black people were brought here as objects to be exploited, and we are still objects to be exploited. And the minute you forget that you're nothing but an object or an opportunity to Gabrielle Zuniga, for Mexican immigrants, okay, or to Tyler Perry, in the case of Derek Dixon, they're going to remind you who you are, and they're going to remind you who they are.
The checks we see online, them real checks, right? The ones that leaked online from the lawsuit?
No, I believe they real. I believe they real because in the lawsuit, they have some of the text messages listed. Now, here's the interesting thing, though, Art. Smokey Robinson is countersuing. Fat Joe is countersuing. Who else did we talk about a minute ago? Fat Joe is countersuing. Smokey Robinson is countersuing.
And Tyler Perry.
It does. No. It don't look like Tyler Perry is countersuing. He might be, but I didn't see anything.
And the reason why I asked you if the checks is real is because, I mean, if they real, then yeah, Tyler Perry is gay, man. I mean, he made it known in them checks that, he in them in.
They both consented. I don't agree with same-sex relationships. If Tyler Perry into that, that's him. We all know the childhood he's been through. It can breed that type of pathology. But to me, this was a consensual relationship that was mutually beneficial and mutually exploitative. That's how I see it. If I'm on the jury, Tyler Perry's relationship with Derek Dixon was mutually exploitative, mutually beneficial. Neither one of them are in the right. Neither one of them are in the wrong if everything stated is true. That's how I'm looking at that. You still got put on. You still got paid. You still got famous. You feel me? You were taken care of, not to the point you wanted to be, but you were still taken care of. I think it was mutually beneficial and mutually exploitative. You see, now he never accused Tyler Perry of flat out sexually assaulting him with the R. You feel me? To me, it just looked like a lot of butt cheek grabbing is what I saw. A lot of thigh rubbing. You feel me? Like nowhere did I read he held me down and forcibly penetrated me. I don't see that nowhere. I'm seeing a bunch of butt smacking, butt grabbing. He pulled his underwear down. You still stayed on the job. Come on, Art. Come on, man. This is consensual. It's consensual. Same thing with Smokey Robinson and the 4 Mexicans. Come on now. You keep coming back and forth to work for 18 years, 12 years, 6 years, 1 year, letting this man do all this to you, you doing all this to him. Here's my thing, Art. Smokey Robinson giving you oral sex, right? Did you refuse it? Because how does an 85-year-old man hold you down, Art, for oral sex? How does an 85-year-old man hold you down for oral sex? You enjoyed it as much as he did, but you didn't get out of it what you wanted to. The mistake of Smokey, the mistake of Tyler, the mistake of Shannon, the mistake of all of them is you're dating down and outside your race. You cannot afford to do that. You got too much to lose. I don't think any of these men sexually assaulted anybody. I don't think Smokey guilty. I don't think Shannon Sharp is guilty. I don't think Tyler Perry is guilty, but I would convict them on one count of being dumbass black men in racist white America. I would convict them of that. And I would sentence them to 500 lashes apiece, except Uncle Smokey. He too old to be taking lashes. But I will convict them for being silly multi-millionaires, and in Tyler Perry's case, multi-billionaire. You a fool. You can't carry yourself like you working at McDonald's. They out here crashing out, Art. Crashing out for non-black vagina and non-black rectum. This is insane. This is insane. Black men have to get our lower chakras. I see you laughing, Art. Black men got to get our lower chakras under control, Art. We got to get our chakras under control. This is madness. This is madness.
Yeah, you threw me off when you said rectum. But, yeah, that guy, he's a legend that, he was in bed and Tyler Perry, he crawled in bed with him and Tyler Perry started touching on him.
Yeah, he said Tyler Perry rubbed.
Yo, was I audible? I was reading the chat there. I just found a video, yeah? You asked a good question. Here is on his retirement from politics, activism, and podcasting. How? Hey man, retirement. I thought he was going in, bruh. He was going to be a feature in South African politics for long. But there's a video about his retirement. We'll watch this one. We'll watch this one tomorrow. Yeah, or I'll put the phone under my pillow at night and just have this episode play. It's a pretty long one to watch all by itself. It'll take too much. 50 minutes is a long time in a day. Maybe the first 10 minutes, he gets to the point. I wonder then, the people he has recruited, if he was paying people, and the rumors are very strong that he has had some puppets on his payroll, does that mean that he has now suddenly withdrawn and he gave them careers and now he's pulling out? So Bokatlego, what's happening with them? Bo Warasi, what's going to happen with them? Bo Sambit, I think. Who else has been there? Ntlantalax, that looks like a puppet that was used a long time ago and hasn't had much relevance. And now Rob Hersov himself, the puppet master, has pulled out. Yo, bro, imagine if really he used certain people knowing that he's a white guy, he's just gonna move to Finland and go ski. Is there skiing in Finland? Or ski at the Alps? Something like that. And it was like, yo, you black people who wanna sell yourself, let me use you. You don't know what my plans are. You think you're going to be friends with me forever. I'm a rich white guy. I don't give a shit about anyone. I'm just going to leave. And so now he has left them. Wow.
Of this thigh.
You know what I mean? Like, how does it get to that point? I don't know. I'm confused.
Remember, when I was saying he went over his house, they had some drinks. It got late. Tyler Perry felt he was a little too tipsy to drive home. Tyler Perry invited him to stay. He stayed. He slides into the bed with Derek Dixon, allegedly, starts rubbing his leg. Derek Dixon told him, I'm not sexual. That's what he kept saying throughout the lawsuit. I'm not sexual. So I don't know if he was trying to claim he was a virgin or...
Hey, thank you, finally. I'm back, man. Ish. Yeah, I've got space and efficiency now. Yo, Ike is around. He's still, I think he's got a new hairstyle. And I saw him, I did a video on him when I was looking on Colbert's channel. There's an episode that I just dropped. Where is it? This one from today. Yeah, I was saying that I just dropped an episode where I spoke about Ike. He's got a new fancy hairstyle. Check him out over here. He's there. He's there in my thumbnail in this video that I dropped 10 hours ago. Have a look at that. He's got a new hairstyle and he's still saying the same things. He's still pumping that propaganda. So where is he? Where is he? And will he be maintaining this? Because yes, you raise him properly. He does seem like one of those people who are under Rob Hersov's scheme and whatnot, right? So he's been thrown out like a used condom. What was that? Who kept on saying that about... who was that woman? Who was speaker? And Julia said that Balekambete. Yeah, I think Balekambete, Julia said that Jacob Zuma used her and threw her like a used condom. Could it be that these grifters who suddenly came up thought that they were going to be friends with a billionaire forever? But he knew that he's just going to retire. He needs to use some black puppets and see them commit themselves like soldiers, selling out, and then he dumps them. Woo! That would be dramatic. That would be very dramatic. Yo, thank you in the chat for asking all of these questions. He has retired. There's something going on.
Or if he was trying to claim that he just wasn't ready to have relations with Tyler Perry. He never said he wasn't homosexual, though, so I believe he's definitely that. But he just wasn't ready. Bottom line, he had too much art. He knew what he wanted, period. Derek Dixon said, you a billionaire, you the man, and you ain't clapping these cheeks until I get my own show, period. And Tyler Perry thought he was going to clap. Allegedly, if this is true, he thought he was going to clap, and Derek wouldn't give it up. He wanted his own show. Neither one of them, they used each other. They played each other. It's sad, man, because I don't want to see Tyler Perry disgraced. Tyler Perry is one of the few black men in this century art who could...
Hey, you don't want to see him disgraced. In his defense, he's going to have to say, look, we had something consensual. Here are the texts. He has to say, look, I bang men full time and me and this guy were in a relationship. We went on this date here. We did this and this and this. And then it's going to become clear to the public in his own defense that he's this type of guy. And how can he not be disgraced? What is this last-ditch attempt now, in the end, to try and protect his reputation? It's finished, bro. Homosexuality is not dignifying. It's not dignified. Bruh, imagine a pastor, maybe, and it's said that he banged a man. Why is that a scandal and this one is not a scandal? Why are we dropping our standards as straight men, bruh? Anyone, mfana, from hobo to president, you are straight. Ubetha banna.
It's sad, man, because I don't want to see Tyler Perry disgraced. Tyler Perry is one of the few black men in this century art who could go on my Mount Rushmore for black achievement if he starts producing some very serious, empowering African-centered movies. Like he did the movie about the sisters in World War II. You know, that was an integrationist kind of thing. It was nice. It was cute. It was good. Shout out to Tyler Perry for that. Kerry Washington, great job, and the other sisters on there. I liked it. But we need a Black Wall Street movie. You know, we need a Marcus Garvey. We need Haitian Revolution. We need Ida B. Wells. Like, if Tyler Perry art can give me 12 strong black movies, not no integrationist flicks about how we desegregated the army. I'm tired of the integrationist flicks. Give me some strong black power. Give me 12 powerful black dramas. Powerful. He could end up on my Mount Rushmore right next to Bryan Stevenson. Right now, I only have Bryan Stevenson up there, the brother in charge of the Innocence Project, because he'd helped so many Africans get off of death row who were illegally charged and sentenced to life. Tyler Perry could get up there because media is powerful and controlling the way black people think and feel is powerful. Tyler Perry has that ability in his hands. I just don't want him to throw it away, because if he keep on getting hit with these lawsuits, I'm going to have to cancel him from my list. Not cancel him generally, but cancel him from my Mount Rushmore. But Tyler Perry could hit that Mount Rushmore if he do the right thing. I hate to see this for him. I hate to see this for Smokey. I hate to see this for Snow Bunny Shannon Sharp.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something that every South African with two brain cells and a bit of gut.
Hey, we dealt with you. Hopping on our screens here, getting some last minute attention. Yo, chat. Ladies and gentlemen, whoever has joined me, I've enjoyed chilling with y'all so much. I should indeed create a WhatsApp group where we are permanently together. And you see, Rob Hersoff, that heads up about where he is, somebody could have found it and we could have arrived with the facts. But this is so dope as well to evolve and see. I agree, we're not conspirators against Rob Hersoff. We are just the citizens watching and giving commentary to our issues. So we're not preparing and cooking these shows, you know, but we are staying in tune together. So me not being prepared sometimes and finding out these things randomly like this, yeah, I appreciate that. I love it very much. We're not trying to be formal and organized, just trying to stay close. Nah? Yeah. Michelle did a very good job today. So, yo, thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you very much for joining me. Hope you like, hope you comment, hope you share, and you subscribe. And I'll be seeing you next time. And yo, chat, gents, we are... Yo, let me remove this boy. Yeah, so I'm out of here. I'll see y'all, ne? Much love, everybody. Farewell, y'all. Good night. I'll try to make the next live tomorrow, run about 9-ish towards this 12-ish. Maybe this is a good time to join, but I can only do this for a week. And then the following week, as you saw, wife arrived, ne? The following week, she'll be working from here in the office, and she works during this time. So that's why I have to get out of here and make space. So I'll only be able to do these nighttime ones for a week, and then for the next week, I have to do them sometime during the day. But we have to talk about that in the WhatsApp group. Nah? Yeah. We'll definitely launch the WhatsApp group ASAP. Let me just get some backlog. I got like 5 videos that are waiting to be dropped, and we just shot 4. So tomorrow, the whole day should be dropping like 9 videos, and tomorrow again, shooting the fresh 3 or 4, whatever. And we'll talk about Rob Hersoff. We'll talk about Starlink. It looks like it's moving there. We'll support the brother Mighty Jamie. He's a good dude with a good brain. And then, yeah. Gents, I'll see you next time. Good night to all of y'all. God bless y'all so much.